Hello, it's Jeff Eisenberg with Southern Oaks Mortgage, your trusted mortgage expert. Today I'm interviewing Kurt Newman from SunERGY Construction, and he installs solar. And welcome, Kurt. Glad that you're here. I appreciate it.
Hey.
Talking to me. So, Kurt, tell me a little bit why you became a solar guy.
So I've actually been in the industry since 2014. Actually, a friend of mine reached out to me, and he heard what I was doing, going business to business, and said you should come aboard and actually work solar. It's huge. And I remember blowing him off at first, like, no, I don't pay a certain amount of electricity. I'm a homeowner as well. And when he told me about the PPA option, I thought it's too good to be true, and so I actually went out with him and saw that it was actually a great thing, and I could save a lot of money, and so I got involved, and I've been doing it ever since.
So it's been over 4 years now you've been doing it?
Since late 2014. So
fantastic,
just
fantastic. So a question for you: there's this thing that is out there, a tax credit. People, if they buy a system, they can get a tax credit for purchasing solar. Is that still available, and do you know when it's going to go away? Or
actually, yes, the tax credits are still in effect until 2019. So right now it's 2018. Next year you'll actually be able to purchase solar and get a 30% tax credit all the way up until the end of 2019. So it's huge. If you actually purchase a system right now for $30,000, you'll actually get a $9,000 tax credit, and that's actually how it makes it so affordable for people to actually go solar.
Right. And then what would you say is the typical lifespan of solar panels, or are there any warranties on solar panels? How does that work?
Yeah. So solar panels have a 25-year warranty, hands down across the board, whatever type of panel you actually use. But right now, the panels will last about 30 to 35 years, so you're getting your money's worth. Especially if you're looking at spending, $2,500 to $3,000 a year. If you multiply that by 30 years, you're going to see a big number. And if you're purchasing a system, over the span of 30 years, you're going to spend like $90,000 for your solar system or for electricity. If you're paying $3,000 a year and Edison's rates keep going up and up and up, you could purchase a system for $30,000 and you own that electricity. And so it's kind of neat. I would say definitely look into it if you haven't already.
Now, I've had solar myself. I've had actually solar for I think 3.5 years, and I did it as a lease. And I lease mine. I pay about $132 a month for my lease. But every year, when I get my Southern California Edison bill, it actually shows I owe like $1.54. I think the highest one I ever got was like $10. But I just pay my $132 a month, and my average bill before was over almost $300 a month. So I'm definitely saving. And then the last couple of years, I've actually gotten a credit. I've actually gotten cash back from Edison because I overgenerated, I overpaid. I guess a big question as a mortgage professional, a big question I get a lot of times is, how does a person decide whether they should purchase a solar system or should they lease one? What would you recommend, or how would you look at that?
It's a great question. What I would actually recommend is if you are planning on staying in your house long term, by this I would probably say between 10 to 20 years, absolutely do a purchase. You're going to actually see a bigger savings on your electricity. Hands down, a purchase, you're always going to get the best price long term if you're staying in the house. If you're doing a lease, it's not as much of a savings, but if you're there for a short period of time, that is why I would actually recommend doing a lease. If you're only planning on staying in the house for, let's say, 5 more years, I would absolutely do a lease rather than a purchase. Even though the break-even point is about 7 to 8 years, If you did a purchase, I would actually recommend, I think I kind of got thrown off.
Well, my question to you is this, is there's a difference between, we talked about this a little bit before we started the interview, but you were telling me about a PPA versus a lease. What, because I didn't understand that at the beginning. What does that mean? What does that actually mean?
So a PPA is actually a form of a lease where you pay for the power that the system produces just at a cheaper rate for electricity. So there's two ways of actually going solar. You can either purchase the system and then you get free electricity, or you can do a PPA or a lease where you pay nothing up front, nothing for the panels, nothing for the installation, and you're just getting a cheaper rate for the electricity. So if you're planning on staying in the house for a short period of time, I would actually recommend doing a lease or a PPA option where you pay nothing up front and you just get cheaper power. But if you're going to stay in the house longer, I would actually do a purchase and get the value, because panels are going to last you 30, 35 years.
Yeah, it's funny because when I did mine, I leased, and everyone, a lot of my neighbors and stuff were doing purchases, but I wanted a lease, I guess because I didn't want to pay anything up front, and it basically the installation, the everything, no fees up front at all. I didn't pay any fees at all, except for I'm buying electricity at a much lower rate, and I'm hardly, because my panels are generating so much electricity that I'm basically paying very little at all for, besides just my lease payment. So I thought that was a great way to do it. So I guess, one of the questions I get asked a lot, Kurt, is, are there any issues when someone's buying a house or selling a house that already has solar? Does that, how does that affect someone in a situation like that?
So I've actually had now 11 homes sell their homes with a PPA on it, and it's been an easy transfer. The next person just comes in and they get the cheaper rate for electricity. They're going to qualify. I mean, you have to have a 650 credit score. So anyone buying a house out here in Santa Clarita
should be able to qualify for that.
So it's an easy transfer. And the next person's going to get the cheaper rate for electricity. You're not going to really make money off of it if you're doing a lease or a PPA option, but it would, I guess it could someday, when Edison's rates go up to time of use, which they are at the end of 2018, it could increase the value of the home, but not necessarily. It's just going to be a cheaper rate for electricity. So the next person would actually, benefit from it and just have less electricity prices. So
yeah, I found that when I'm doing loans and we have to do a refinance or a purchase and the house already has it, sometimes there's a lien on the property and we have to do what's called a UCC filing, and I've never had a problem with any of the loans I've ever done that have had solar leases or a purchase option that have ever caused a problem. And is it true, I heard through the grapevine that going forward they are not putting liens on the property anymore, but you do have to, when you do a loan or something, you do have to file this UCC. What is a UCC filing? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so there's no lien on the property anymore. Basically, they just had that as a backup, but now it's a UCC filing, which the focus is just on the panels. So they're not interested in your home. We're just focusing the panels. If you stop paying for your solar, they'll come take it off your roof. So it's just a focus on. And
then I think the last thing I just wanted to discuss with you is, I know that people are always worried that, like, what happens if their roof leaks, or during the time, like, you guys come and install the panels and the roof starts leaking. That's covered, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing really to worry about.
Yeah, so we actually we don't have any leaks. I haven't ever seen any leaks with any of my installs. When we actually do the site survey, we would actually take off the tiles or look at the shingle and make sure that it is in good shape.
Right.
If you ever needed to, you know, I'm trying to think.
But you guys are also roofing contractors, right? So that makes a big difference. Not all solar companies are roofing contractors. Is that true?
Yeah, no.
So so you guys know what you're doing. If I want to take my solars off, like after my 20-year lease, if I decide to take, I don't want to renew, let's say, you guys or whoever my solar company is, they would have to remove, replace, and put it back into the same condition it was beforehand, making sure no leaks, everything like that, and then they take it off and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So,
and generally with a lease, it is a 20-year commitment that you're actually saying, I'm going to use this electricity for the next 20 years. And so after the 20 years, yes, we would actually take them off and restore the roof to actually.
Well, Kurt, you are by far one of the most knowledgeable and honest guys I know in the solar business. And I'm not just saying that. So if someone wanted to reach out to you and maybe get a quote, maybe talk to you about the difference between doing a PPA or a lease or, you know, the tax credit, how would they get in touch with you?
Just give me a call. You know, I'm local. I live right here in Castaic. And my cell phone is 661-993-8535. And I'd love to come out and give you guys some options to look at. No pressure, you know, whether it's a purchase, lease, or PPA, or, you know, even if, I'd love to sit down and just get to know you. All
right. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us about solar. And I thank you for listening. And it's Jeff Eisenberg, Southern Oaks Mortgage, your trusted mortgage expert. Have a great day.